I'm Corbitt with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, May the 27th, brought to you in part by Superior Steel Sales, home of Superior Standard livestock equipment. That's those heavy-duty feeders, crowding tubs, panels, freestanding panels, gates, loading chutes, just about anything you need, guys. You can get that. You can order raw pipe and steel from Superior Steel Sales. They feature JB pipe, brand new pipe, as good as you can get anywhere. They're also Pearson livestock equipment dealers, guys. Just check them out if you're looking at improving or building a new set of corrals. You got to check out Superior Steel Sales. They can ship it to you, guys. For more information, go to superiorsteelsales.com. Calmer heads after the Monday break, and that was the whole story on Tuesday. And we were just fortunate that we had the Memorial Day Monday with no trade, no high volume feeder sales there, because so many times they're totally dominated by the corporate feeders, and then those corporate feeders come in there after a down day, the week or down couple of days, big time on the board, or after a bearish cattle on feed, they'll come in on that Monday. And you know, while the other smaller outfits are kind of waiting to see what they're going to do, they just collectively back up the market. We've seen them do it 1,000 times. Didn't have the Monday sales to do that on, so they come into the Tuesday sales, which the bigger ones are just regional type sales, and they get in there, and then you get local demand, and then you get different buyers from different places picking around, and the corporates are definitely not going to get up on the edge of their seat and chase them for cattle, because they never do. That's why they're short of cattle, and they're not getting near as many formula type cattle. The packers aren't every week, and then we're seeing that absolutely, guys, and that's one reason this market has been higher. But it was just nice not to have to deal with that. We came in on Tuesday, fears of the board going into a free fall did not happen, so that was nice. But much to the chagrin of some of these hedged feeders that just kind of play the board and feed for the basis, they're exhausted with this higher cattle market, and many of them are kind of rooting for the board to go down quite a bit here to pick up some margin on that. But it's kind of conflicting there. You see guys that are feeding a lot of cattle rooting for the board to go down, and they're just wanting to get some of that money they've had to put in there with margin calls and things like that. But it was a good day, and you know, we had those algorithms, and I guarantee you those algorithms are dialed in extra tight on the down or the short side, because so many of those speculators and funds don't want to miss it. If this thing's going to fall completely out of bed, and whenever it does, if it does, they want to be riding from the top when it does. So if we would have had much downward pressure, much short selling, we would have seen that, because it would have ground right up in there on those algorithms. But we didn't see that. Didn't see that on Tuesday. So it was kind of an encouraging day there, because some of those funds and the speculators outside the industry too, they just want to dogpile this thing down whenever they think we're out of bullish news. But you know, you get to looking around, we still don't have that many cattle ready for harvest right now. Your packers don't have a lot of cattle around them. They have bought quite a few cattle with time on them the last couple of weeks here, especially last week. Now we'll see if they can keep their needs met and keep those in their pocket, then they may be able to back up this fed cattle market. We'll have to see how that goes forward. But you know, nothing's happened any different. We had quite a few more placements in April than a lot of us thought we were going to have. Then you look around and you think of all the drought and the fires and everything that was going on, and you see, well, I understand where those cattle were coming from and why they were taking up more space and placing in more pens than a lot of guys thought. But you know, you just think about the way we're feeding cattle now. It's just totally different. When you're filling a pen, let's say you're a feedlot filling a pen, you only have to fill that pen twice a year now, where you used to have to fill it more. These cattle that they're putting, I don't care if they weigh 800 pounds when you put them on feed, they've got to double their weight in the feedlot. That takes a long time, and it ends up being quite a few cattle on feed, because it just takes longer to get those through the system. And I hope whenever things start to turn around and back up and this market comes back a little bit, I hope people can get used to selling those cattle a little bit quicker and not keeping them so long, because if they continue to do that, when the market slips up and we start backing up a little bit, that is going to be a tough row to hoe there. But these guys are getting used to not having to go out and buy replacement feedlot cattle as often as they used to when they'd put them on feed weighing 7.5, and they'd feed them till they weighed 13 or something like that. Now they're putting them on feed weighing 8 or 8.5 or 9, and they're feeding them till they weigh 15.5 or 16, and it just takes longer. But even at the end of the feeding period, when those cattle are not very efficient, it still doesn't take as much to put a pound on as what it's worth, because the market's gone up here a little bit and the whole industry has switched to that. Let's talk about some other things that are going on. How about Bowman, North Dakota? Bowman Livestock Auction in Bowman, North Dakota. They're a DVAuction broadcaster, and they're having a big horse sale coming up, and it's going to be a dandy. It's going to be on Thursday, June the 4th. Be thinking about that. Kind of mark your calendars there, as they're local, respectable, reputable horses, guys. And they've all been active in local brandings and local rodeos. Tell you what, they've got a 3-day guarantee. If you buy one, turn out you don't want it. They've got delivery available nationwide. You know, if you need to get a horse somewhere else, they're going to have a full preview the morning of the sale, and there are already videos available for most of the horses on DVAuction.com. If you go look at that Bowman horse sale, and you go down and look and see the videos that are already on there. But you can view and bid that sale on Thursday, June the 4th on DVAuction, and get ready for that sale. That'll be a humdinger up there in cowboy country, guys. How about, I want to tell you about the Independent Cattlemen's Association of Texas convention is coming up. It's going to be June 24th, 25th, and 26th at the Embassy Suites Convention Center in San Marcos, Texas. Now, you guys want to have a good time. You want to get active with a grassroots association here in Texas. You guys that are down in here, especially if you're in Central or South Texas, guys, you're going to meet people that are doing the same things you are. You can visit with them about the things that are affecting that trade down there, and we're going to have a good time. I tell you what, I'm going to be there. I've been going the last several years. Justin Tupper, my buddy, that is the president of the U.S. Cattlemen's Association from up in South Dakota, he's going to be there. Tell you what, they're going to have a little scramble golf tournament. If you want to see me try to pack his ass around that golf tournament in the humidity, you might get a chuckle out of that. But we just have a good time. I tell you what, there's no stuffy suits there. They've got a nice trade show, a lot of booths in there, a lot of people, a lot of activity. You need to get there and meet some of the people that are facing the same challenges as you are. They've got entertainment there. We have open bars there. The hospitality room is fantastic. And they always have a young guy that can pick and sing in there playing. And a lot of times Justin Tupper ends up singing backup for him, or trying to sing lead, but he ends up singing backup. But tell you what, it is a good convention. We have a big time there. They got Gary P. Nunn performing there in concert at one of the deals. You just got to check it out. It's really worth it, guys. So check out that ICA of Texas convention coming up here in the mid-latter part of June. Let's talk about your board for Tuesday, first day of the week of the board trading. June live cattle were down 107 at 248.22. August was down 45 cents at 239.15. Your back months on live cattle were unchanged to up 45 cents. So the rest of them were up. How about August feeder cattle? They were down 40 cents after being down 11 on Thursday, down nearly $7 on Friday. Then things just kind of cooled off, like I've been talking about. And on Tuesday, they were just jostling around steady. Ended up down 40 cents, which is nothing, at 349.45. But that's a long ways back from the index levels where cash feeder cattle are trading. But it's an August contract. And I told you on our last visit, they're going to juke and jive that thing every which way but loose for the next 3 months because it doesn't have to get close to anything that's actually going on in this long period with 2 bastard months. How about September feeder cattle? They were up 12 cents, 347.02. Then your back months on feeder cattle were mixed from as much as 5 cents lower to as much as 65 cents higher. How about your grains? July corn down 5 3/4 cents a bushel at 457.5. Beans for July down 10.5 at 11.86, and your hard red winter wheat for July down 5 3/4 cents a bushel at 676.25. I'm going to give you your weighted average on last week's negotiated trade in your 5 area feeding region. Of course, direct negotiated cash, they moved 42,500 last week, with packers buying for a short week and the holiday coming up there. That compared to 76,000 the previous week and 46,400 the same week a year ago. Live fat steers and heifers last week ranged in price from $258 to $265. That was $1 lower on the price spread. Your weighted average on live steers was $260.49. That was down $236. Dress sales ranged in price from $405 to $415. That was steady to $5 lower. Weighted average on dress steers was $410.24, down 83 cents compared to the previous week's weighted average on dress steers. As a whole, your Southern Plains market was unevenly steady after all the talk of everything going to nothing. Unevenly steady from $259 to $260 for the most part in Texas and Kansas. Northern Plains was steady to $5 lower from $258 to $265, and on a dress basis from $405 to $415, but mostly $410. So not a terrible market there. When it backs up a little bit, it's going to go up and down, guys. Nationwide, we sold 49,800 head negotiated last week, compared to 89,700 the previous week and 55,500 the same week a year ago. Of the 49,800 negotiated cash last week nationwide, about 51%, and that is a lot more than usual, sold with time on them. Now the packers are going to be able to wait 2 weeks before they start pulling those cattle. Are they going to be able to use that as kind of a shoehorn to get this market down? We'll have to see. That's just something we have to see. Maybe your cattle feeder's got to be a little more disciplined about holding some of those cattle back instead of wanting to puke them and work this market lower. But that was a significant amount with 2 to 4 week delivery on them. Negotiated grid sales totaled 28,000. Forward contracts totaled 26,400 head last week. And formula sales, like I've been saying, guys, are light. Formula sales last week, 193,300 head. The same week a year ago, they had 264,200 head. These packers are short of cattle, guys. Their captive supplies are much lighter than what they're used to. You can use that to maneuver a steady to higher fed cattle market on a direct basis, guys. How about Stockman's Livestock Market, a market finder there? Brick and mortar sale in Yankton, South Dakota, and the biggest one we have in this country. They had 900 head in overnight, and they had 1,575 for the slaughter cattle auction. They did not have a cow sale on Monday, so the 1,575 included slaughter cows. So a little bit lighter run on the fed steers and heifers. Conventional fed steers and heifers sold from $254 to $257.50. That was $1 to $3.50 lower. Program cattle lower than that, selling from $255 to $265, and they were $3.50 to $8 lower. Of course, your direct market was lower too. Box beef cutout values were higher on Tuesday, significantly higher. Choice cuts up $263 at $392.90. Need to be getting that over $4. And your select cuts up $5.30. Big gains there at $390.30. But your slaughter for the first full day of the week there, through Tuesday, they only had about 1,000 head slaughtered on Monday that they recorded. So Up through Tuesday, 112,000 estimated cattle slaughter. It's non-applicable to last week because we had the Monday holiday, but compared to the same holiday week a year ago, that was just 8,000 head lighter than last year. Let's talk about what else is going on. Punchy pick of the month, of course, that coming up. It's coming up here this week, guys. It comes around quicker than a pickup payment, I tell you. We couldn't do it without our sponsors. We have a lot of fun with those punchy picks that you guys send in. Keep sending them in. Doesn't cost you a thing. If you get a punchy pick that you think has a chance at winning there, just email that picture to punchy@nationalbeefwire.com. You're automatically entered to win. If you're in a kid's corral, Great Plains Livestock Consulting, guys. They're a reputable outfit. Check them out. Great Plains Livestock Consulting donates a $200 gift certificate to Cavender's Boot City for the winner of the Kids Corral Punchy Pick. Then the regular Punchy Pick sponsors are Beaver County Stockyards. They've been with us from the very beginning of that. And then, of course, Ferapiece, that revolutionary product that is scientifically proven, guys. It is the only patented appeasing pheromone on the market. Don't settle for a knockoff, guys. But check out this short video about Ferapiece. I'm going to tack on the end of this feeder flash video. But get involved with the Punchy Pick. How about your feeder cattle market, brought to you by Specialty Risk Insurance, full service insurance company, heavily weighted to the agriculture side there, guys. They can help you out with anything you need on or off the farm. Real-time index from DVAuction late in the day on Tuesday, after all your sales had concluded, was sitting at 365.59. That was actually up 15 cents a hundred. So not too bad. It's nice to see that gain a little bit back there. And your steer tracker was sitting at 367.04. That's the average on the last 25 lots of 5 head or more that went into that RTI. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index sitting at 371.49. I want to tell you about a sale that's coming up later this week at the Maryville Livestock Auction in Maryville, Missouri. They're having their anniversary special. Been 5 years they've been going already, guys. And they're having kind of a stick out offering. They're going to have over 1,000 head they've already got consigned. Check those guys out. My friends James Hudgens, Tommy Runyon, and Mike Frieden, along with some other guys that are helping them. They've got a good offering for you. About 5 or 6 loads of yearling feeders there, be top notch. Then several strings of fancy home raised calves. Check them out on Thursday. Got a nice offering there. And get in there and buy some of them. They will be live on DVAuction. You can view and bid them right there. How about your big sales that happened on Tuesday? Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma had a lighter run due to the holiday and the uncertainty about the market there. They had some cancellations there, but they still had 3,450 head. The market was lower. Feeder steers $4 to $5 lower. But they did have some really top quality 900 to 1,000 pound steers that sold as much as $5 higher. Feeder heifers were $5 to $7 lower. Steer calves $5 to $6 lower. But heifer calves $5 to $10 higher with improved quality compared to last week's heifer calves there. Beaver was your superior steel sales stick out sale of the day. You check out this automated market report through Cattle Market Central and you see your best tested weights. Going to go down through them here. They had 195 head of 5-weight steer calves. They averaged 541 at 469.06. 315 head of the 7-weight steers averaged 779 with a weighted average price of 376.77. There were 310 head of the 8-weight steers. They averaged 837 at 359.17. 485 head of the 9-weight steers averaged 928 at 343.61. 190 head of the light 10-weight steers averaged 1045 at 310.49. And 132 steers weighed 1,100 pounds. This was an individual quote. 132 steers weighed 1,100 pounds at 305.5. How about the heifers? 147 heifers in the 4-weight category averaged 459 at $459.46. 120 head of the 5-weight heifers average $561 at $400.13. How about 157 6-weight heifers average $645 at $369.83. 848 head of the 7-weight heifers average $734 at $346.59. And 123 head of the 9-weight feeder heifers in Beaver, Oklahoma average $944 with a weighted average price of $302.54. Now I'm going to give you some individual quotes all around on Tuesday I thought were impressive, guys. Check them out. How about Ozarks Regional Stockyard in West Plains, Missouri? They sold 207 big steers in one swath. They weighed 1047, bring 306. Very respectable there in south central Missouri. How about Bluegrass Stockyards and the main location there in Lexington, Kentucky? They sell 58 steers, weighed 927 at $348.85. Just like nothing happened, guys. No problem there. How about Messina, Iowa? Good sale there in Messina. Messina Livestock Sales. They sold 64 steers, weighed 1,005 pounds at $322. Didn't look that hurt that market any. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday, your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Kimball Livestock Exchange in Kimball, South Dakota. It was 145 steers, weighed 792, bring 406. That's your feeder flash for Wednesday.
Stress in your beef herd, dairy, or swine leads to weight loss, disease, and mortality, costing you peace of mind and profit. Stressful events such as transport, weaning, calving, and handling activate survival instincts in cattle, often leading to reduced dry matter intake, suppressed immunity, and increased risk of disease and mortality. FERA offers FeraPeas, a proven solution with over 20 million doses sold. FeraPeas, a synthetic analog of the maternal appeasing substance, naturally calms animals, helping to restore normal feeding behavior, promote hydration, and support immune function, ultimately improving health and performance. Trusted by producers and validated through multiple independent university trials, FeraPeas has been shown to reduce disease incidence and mortality, ensuring greater animal welfare and improved profitability for cattle and swine operations. FeraPeas, address the stress, backed by science.